Well, the consequences are, I sure don't want to be here. The consequences are very serious and potentially more difficult to solve than our current dilemma. The first thing you got to do is start working on that business tax. The biggest component of the structural deficit is the failure of the business tax to perform as some predicted, not the lieutenant governor being one of them. He didn't predict it to work.
Is that doable during this session?
Yes.
So what would be the vehicle for that?
Well, I don't know. We can either get the House to address it, or we can consider a constitutional amendment to fix it.
What would a constitutional amendment do?
Basically, I think there are a couple that are under discussion is to authorize us to go back to the old franchise tax.
As a corporate income tax?
As a tax on the income of businesses. Well, I think they do. I think businesses pay most of the taxes in Texas now. And the issue is not to single out businesses as some sort of villain. They already pay most of the taxes. The issue is having a tax system that, in my opinion, is uniform and equitable and as low as possible. And a lot of my criticism is not particularly directed at any one business, but as we continue to carve out exceptions over this policy that taxes should be equal and uniform, we're basically subsidizing one group at the expense of everybody else. As a matter of philosophy, I don't like it. I don't know how to answer that question. I mean, obviously the committee has to vote on an appropriation, which is what HB1 is, and then basically we've got to explain, if this is what we're going to appropriate, how we're going to pay for it. But in that context, I think we have fairly broad latitude. It's not, you still got to address how you're going to pay for it.
We're not kicking the can down the road on any program. At least in the Senate, we're looking at the total cost on Medicaid, the total cost on public education. The number that's recommended and have been voted out of the Senate Finance Subcommittee on Public Education was right about $6 billion. Increase to the base bill, $5.3 billion going into the foundation school program, which would mean an increase of $1.5 billion over our current spending.
I'm saying that I'm not ready to tell you yet how I'm going to pay for the budget because the budget's not written yet.